Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, with episode 16 of Ask a Crafter. I'm here with Lorraine today. How are you doing today?
Great, very good. Snowy morning in Maine.
Yes, yes. Will your chickens come out when it's snowy?
Some of them will, some of them won't, yes. But they don't stay long. They prefer to be in, yeah.
No, one chicken came out, went under his coop, and the other ones wouldn't even come down. I think they can't see in the snow.
No, they can't see in the snow, yeah.
So I brought a little bowl of Cheerios out and set it inside the coop for them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're very pathetic this time of year.
They are. They're sad. They don't get cold. They should be fine inside the coop.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to heat their coops, but never do that.
I put a heat lamp out when it gets really cold.
Well, the theory behind that is that if your electricity goes out, which ours does the other end of town.
Then you bring the chickens inside.
Yeah.
With the wind stove.
That would be good.
My chickens decided they want to be indoor chickens now.
Yeah, they would like that.
They would. Oh my gosh, too funny. You ready for Thanksgiving?
Well, we got borrowed the big deep fat fryer later. We're gonna.
Oh yeah.
Seriously? Oh, my husband's fired up about that. Oh please.
Oh my gosh, don't tell my husband.
Oh.
He'll be at your doorstep looking for a turkey dinner because I'm not cooking a turkey.
It says on the top 3.5 minutes per pound. We're gonna have flash. Do this in a flash. I'm telling you. This ought to be good. I don't know.
Is this one of your turkeys that you've grown?
No. He hasn't grown turkeys for a while. He used
Grown
to do
turkeys.
That. Grown turkeys. Well, that's what you grow
out of the ground.
No, I went up and dragged it up the driveway. I told somebody it was heavy, 22 pounds. Oh my gosh.
Big birds.
Yeah, now we got to get a lot of oil.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Oh
Maybe
my
we
gosh.
should watch that show with the beards. What's that?
Duck hunters or something.
Figure it. I bet they know how to do that.
They probably do. They're out squeezing something for a while.
Oh yes, anything a new adventure.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's probably when you're done with the turkey, you could power some sort of vehicle with it.
Oh
like
my gosh.
biofuel or whatever. Oh my gosh.
I know.
For any one of you just tuning in, this is actually a craft show. But
Yeah.
So do you eat turkey?
No, not any meat. No, not
so
any
you
meat
just-
or birds or anything.
Just cook it.
Yeah, well, I'm not involved in that at all. No,
Yeah.
I'll do the potatoes and squash and all that stuff. But
I make rolls and I go mooch off my parents.
oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
works.
Good. Yeah.
My Lila says, "Mom, how come Grammy is such a good cook?"
Yeah.
Like, compared to what? What do you mean, why is Grammy such a good cook?
Compared to what? Compared to who?
Compared to me, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
she likes to
thinking that.
peel vegetables. I never peel vegetables. She likes to, she's
No.
meat and potatoes, old-fashioned cooking.
old-fashioned.
I'm more
right
of
from
the
scratch.
tofu and steamed veggies
Yeah.
camp. And
Just throw it in.
yeah, nothing like taters and gravy at Grammy's house.
Yeah, really.
All right, well, we got a lot of great comments, and if you want to check those out, just go to last week's Ask a Crafter video and just read through all the wonderful advice that have come from your fellow crafters. And I've got a few questions that came in overnight, and Lorraine has prepared all the questions that came in before Monday. And I'm just going to start off with the questions that I gathered.
Oh.
And there's actually one that I kind of pulled because it was a two-parter, and I wanted to make sure that I got both parts together. All right, up first, Paula asks, "Hey Lindsay, can't wait for the next Ask a Crafter. 2 questions. First, what kind of coffee are you and Lorraine drinking?" Honestly, it's just coffee. There's no... This is actually chock full of nuts, New York City roast.
Oh,
Yes.
New York City. I love it there.
Yeah, dark. It's dark. I got a little almond milk in mine. Lauren's got hers black.
Black.
My crafty question is, how can I use embossing powder on an original sketch or drawing? I often draw images I'd like to emboss, but I can't figure out how to get embossing ink on the line drawing. Sorry if this is a big duh question. I so enjoy your spirit, energy, and knowledge. Hugs. Well, Paula, what I would do is after you have it all drawn, I'd probably draw it with waterproof ink, and then I'd go over it with a little glycerin and a paintbrush. And then you might have to do it in sections. If you have a large drawing, just kind of go over your lines with a paintbrush and glycerin, sprinkle it with powder, tap off the excess, and heat it. Then go to the next part and just keep going and working the different areas of your picture until it's all set. I've done that before. I did it with a kids class, and we drew strings of holiday lights, like the old-fashioned big Christmas bulbs.
Oh yeah.
And then we embossed it, and then we did watercolor, almost like a stained glass, so it looks stained glass. So you can kind of pretend that's the leading and do it that way. So yeah, that works great. But it's not something you typically think of, so definitely not a duh question. This question I've got to ask to the viewers because Sue Cole went to the tapedepot.com but couldn't find the refills for the pink ATG gun. So she's looking for the specific name or link. So if anybody goes there, maybe Valerie who sent me the gun, if any of you guys shop at the Tape Depot and have the refills for the pink ATG gun, can you please leave a link under the video so Sue can check that out. Alicia Mitchell asks, this artsy fartsy Canuck loves this channel. Our neighbors to the north.
Yes.
Not too far north either. I have 16-foot high walls in my great room and just dying to be adorned with art. I've gone from thinking of some sort of tapestries. I'm not much of a hippie type. LOL. Laugh out loud. Trying to think outside the box by hanging old windows or doors. My house is modern and that seems too cozy. Even if I stretch my own canvas, this project would cost a fortune. These lovely walls need affordable art. Thanks. I bet it's loud, too, when you think high ceilings like that.
Yes.
And if she has kids, probably will want to... Ooh, you're beeping. That's okay. That's okay. I think... That's gonna... That's Lorraine's phone. Sounds like I'm in the rainforest, though.
So popular.
You are. My phone never rings. I think you can find really cool modern prints of fabric. Moda makes some gorgeous prints.
Yes.
We have a local store called Martin's where you can buy dirt cheap fabric. But if you find some fabric that you like, you could stretch it over canvas stretcher frames. They're inexpensive. Order them online. You can get whatever width and whatever height you want. You just hammer them together. It makes a frame. You stretch your fabric around to the back and staple it on the back so your edges will be nice and clean and crisp and pretty. And then just hang them up. They're super light. They'll deaden your sound if you have a lot of kids or noise or any issues like that. It'll make your room a lot quieter. It'll almost be like an acoustical tile. Another thing you could do, it'll be more expensive, but it might be easier. You could take actually it wouldn't be that much more expensive. You could get big foam core boards or even styrofoam and tack it with thumbtacks to the back and hang that up.
Yeah, then you could change it out.
Yeah, you could take it off and tack up another piece when you get sick of it. I think that's what I would do if you don't feel like painting. You know, that would
Did she say no to quilts?
She did say no to quilts. That's a good idea.
Oh, I have quilts hanging on all my walls.
And that also will help with the sound, too.
Yeah, well, I have a log cabin, and they just kind of... And I just like to have my quilts out there.
And quilts don't have to be traditional. They can be very contemporary. You
Right.
can have
Yes.
they're almost like painted with fabric and felt, and
yes.
there's gorgeous quilts. If you ever check out if you go to the website Cloth Paper Scissors, it's a quilting magazine. Have you ever?
Oh yes, love
Gorgeous, but it's very modern. So you may find some quilt designs. Maybe you want to try your hand at making a quilt. Now that's not a cheap cheap craft to get into. I don't quilt, but it is my mother and my sister quilt, and
love that.
it is a
Yeah.
but it's gorgeous. It's a great way to express yourself. But, one at a time, build it up, maybe just stretch some fabric you like until you get a collection going. But I think that'd be a great idea. It'd help cut down on the noise. You know what I always wanted to do? Have one of those tall bookcases that you have to climb a ladder to get to your books.
Oh, yeah.
That would be cool.
That would be nice.
That wouldn't be cheap, though.
No, that wouldn't be.
That'd be involved.
No, but with the foam core also, I've done walls with making, like, designs, how to say,
Like
different
a mosaic
colors.
kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah,
different shapes.
They have one of those at the AC Moore. Do you see that when you're cashing out and you walk out? They've got a bunch of the foam core pieces that are wrapped in different fabrics, and they tack up their notices about classes and stuff.
I just did that in a baby room that,
nice.
there was an apartment and she couldn't put anything.
Oh, was that in your daughter's apartment?
Yeah, down in Connecticut. It looks cute.
Oh,
she
I
picked some
bet.
cute material.
That's so much nice fabric. And I try not to buy fabric without a plan. When I was in Boston, when my husband had surgery, I did find a great fabric store, and I came home with some fabric. But I couldn't bring more than I could carry on the bus with me. So I could have gone to town and bought tons of fabric. But that'd be a great way to use up fat quarters, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good solution. Anything else you could think of? Or?
That's it.
I like that you could stay modern, because you can get modern prints and you just do rectangles, and you can still warm it up but have it modern.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, question is for you, Lorraine. It's from Jane Christensen. I know your colored pencils are somewhere safe and special. When you finally found them, it'll be just like Christmas.
It will be.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Whenever I put something away, I can't find it anyway. LOL.
It will be like Christmas.
You still haven't found the watercolor
No,
crayons?
I haven't. Oh, I haven't.
They're going to turn up.
But I do find other things that I have been missing. You know,
Yeah.
when you get cleaning,
Yeah.
that was something at work when somebody new started. I said, just go and clean.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find where
absolutely.
things are. Yes, that's the
I
only-
cleaned
that's
up
the
this
best way.
weekend. Jason built me a new bench over there. Well, let me swim the source. Can we see that? Let's
yeah.
see. Maybe I can get that in film. Yeah, see that big plywood table with
that's
shelves? My
nice.
husband made that for me. I got that in this weekend, and so I got to find all sorts of new treasures and.
Yeah, you do when you clean out. And
Oh
think-
yeah. But I did not find your watercolor crayons. But they've never
No.
been. They've never visited me, so I don't know why they would be here. All right. Zena asks. Actually, you might have had that question. Do you have that question on your list?
Yeah.
Okay, you know, I'll skip it. I'll let you do it in a bit. Okay, Stacy asks, and Stacy and I went back and forth on this a bit. Please help. How do I hang a canvas board? I do mixed media on canvas board, and some of these boards weigh up to 4+ pounds after I'm done adding all the embellishments. What she needs to do is make her canvas boards and send them to Alicia, and she can hang them up in her
Oh
home.
yeah,
That's
that
what
would
we
be
do.
nice.
Get you two together. Because they sound pretty modern, and they'd go with your decor, I think.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of metal and found objects. I'd like to have them hanging themselves, and I'd like to know how to mount them inside of some sort of frame, maybe a deep frame or shadow box frame. Please help, oh crafty goddess, to show me all the completed canvas boards that can be displayed and used. Thanks so much. The metal elements stick out over the edges of the canvas board in some places, and I have quite a bit of dimension to them. They don't wrap around all the way though. I'd say some stick out as far as 3/4 of an inch in depth from the canvas. I did find a brand of tape for canvas boards, but that would be about $7 per board if I calculated right. They aren't large. 8x10 is the largest probably, but they do have some weight to them. Do you think I could use grommets and use chain? Would that even penetrate a canvas board? I'm asking so many questions. Thanks so much for any ideas. Can't wait. I actually have a couple ideas here. One idea would be to do a French cleat system. Do you know what French cleats are?
So like with curtains?
It's more like when you in my husband's workshop. Actually, this shelf is hung with a French cleat. So basically, there is a strip of wood on the wall that is cut, and the strip of wood is cut at a 45-degree angle, and the pointy part of the angle is away from the wall. The short part is towards the wall. So then on the back of that canvas is the back of that shelf is the opposite. There's one of those angled boards, but it's curving down like that. So you just lift up the shelf and set it on. So if you put the cleats on the back of the picture and you put cleats on the wall, you could just set it on there, and that's all you need to do. That's pretty cheap. All you need is someone with a strip of wood and somebody with a saw that can cut it at a 45-degree angle for you. The other thing, I actually have this product here because I've done lots of framing. If I can get it out of here. These are the rifle. These canvas. Actually, you can use them. I bought them because back when I was a starving artist, they're called gallery clips. I couldn't afford to frame all my work for shows, so what I would do is I'd take my watercolors, I'd mat them, have foam core on the back, and I would put glass on them, and then you put these little clips in each corner, and there's a little let me open up a package so you can see there's like a little place for that to rest, and I think that would be just about the right dimension for your canvas boards and whatever might be attached to them. So this is what it is, and so your canvas would kind of, the corner would sit in like that, so all you see, it's very modern because all you see are those little kind of fingers in the front, and then there's this hook on the back where you wire all of the four together so it's held in with tension, and then you can hang it with that. And those are called gallery clips, and they're a couple bucks a set, maybe $4 or $5. So if you don't want to do cleats like this, you could just use a picture hanger to hang it up, so you wouldn't have to commit to cleats on your wall. I mean, if you had a bunch of these canvas boards and you want to just put one long cleat strip, just make sure it's level, you could just, you know, line them all up. But this you can do any sort of hanging, and it's good if you want to display your work in like a coffee house or a gallery, because that's a kind of hanging system they're going to have. They're going to have just little hooks that you hang your stuff on. So gallery clips, this is made by More Push Pin Company, Windmore, Pennsylvania. So M-O-O-R-E, Push Pin Company, if you're looking for these. And they're about $5 a set, maybe less. I think I got them like on Dick Blick, and I bought like a whole box, so it was a little bit cheaper. But that's what I would do. Do you have any ideas for the canvas board other than that?
No, that looks like a good idea.
Okay. Okay, yeah, now that's it for the extra questions that came in overnight. Busy people with all your questions.
VA Pearl says, okay, I have another question for you. I have a mini circle punch that won't punch anymore. I don't think I have abused it since I only used it on paper and very light cardstock. I'm wondering if it can be fixed. If not, can they be recycled? I hate to just chuck it.
Pop it in the freezer and leave it for about 10 minutes. And because if it's a little button punch, sometimes they get punched and they get stuck down because there's something like a little bit of paper or something in there. And then you should be able, if it doesn't pop up on its own, you should be able to flip it over and stick like a nail or something just to push that metal mechanism up. And then before you use it again, spray it with some WD-40, maybe punch through some typing paper a few times to clean it up, and that ought to do it. If it feels dull, punch through some aluminum foil, and wax paper will also lubricate it. But if it was sticking, I don't think I'd punch it in the wax paper right yet because it might get caught. Yeah, a little WD-40, but that ought to fix it. If not, then
chuck it.
You can chuck it. There's not much else you can do with a broken punch.
Yeah. Zena K asks again, hi Lindsay and Lorraine, could you please make a tutorial with watercolor paint of a cardinal bird on a wintry background like the red berries and such? That would be awesome. Thank you.
All right, I will try to do that. I'm just going to put a little star next to that so I remember to come by. I've got a stack of requests, so I kind of get to them. I'll look through and, I want to do that today, and that's what I'll do. So it's not chronological order. It's whenever I feel inspired to do it.
Anna Nelson has, hi Lindsay and Lorraine. I love your Ask a Crafter series. I'm so glad I stumbled upon your videos a few months ago. I'm a crafter / artist, and I have been drawing and teaching others how to craft since I was very young. My question is, I know you said you used to teach art classes. I'm wondering what your educational background is. I'm in college right now, going towards my AA, and I was wondering if you have any advice. I want to be an art teacher and a children's book illustrator.
Well, no, I have a degree in broadcasting. I started out in radio, and and I just, I worked as a DJ on radio, and it's how I met my husband. He's a DJ, and then one day I was doing a crappy shift. It was like, I don't know, midnight to 3 a.m. Saturday morning, some awful shift that you get stuck with when you're new. And I saw I was reading the newspaper, the classified ad, thinking, this stinks, I gotta find something better to do. And there was an ad that said artists wanted. And I'm like, and so I called it, and it was a lady that had a little art studio in the city, and she was looking for somebody to teach a couple children's classes, and so I did that part-time, and then I got hired as the art director at a nonprofit, and so I designed all of the art classes for that nonprofit. It was a senior center, and then they also had a summer camp, so I designed the program for their summer camp, and then I just started picking up more classes and teaching more classes at the little studio. The lady got ready to get rid of the studio and sold it to me, and then I ran it there for a few years until I got pregnant with twins, and I decided to close the business so I could be home with my 3 children. My son was 1 at the time, so I'd be hauling him up 3 flights of stairs along with my supplies. And when I got pregnant with twins, it's like, okay, I need to be a mom for a while. And
so you never actually took classes yourself?
No, well, there was an artist that lived across the cornfield growing up, and my mother would send me off to her once a week, and I would she was a watercolorist.
Whoa.
Mrs. Turner, love Mrs. Turner. Every once in a while, I see Mrs. Turner too.
Oh, that's
when
nice.
we're at different painting events and stuff. And so I was very fortunate there. I took art lessons as a child, and
you just tried it.
Yeah,
tried
just
everything.
did it. Just mostly self-taught with the help of Mrs. Turner.
That's nice.
It kills me when these kids get out of college and they've got $100,000 of student loans for art school and they can't get a job. And I'm not trying to dissuade you. Absolutely, learn what you can, but make contacts while you're in school. Get your teachers to help you make contacts. It's not about them teaching you how to paint. You probably know how to paint. You got to get your contacts. You got to have them help you find a job, because that's where you're going to have a hard time, especially in this economy. Yeah. I mean, I don't even think you need an art degree to teach art in the schools everywhere. I mean, you could have an ed tech degree to teach art in the schools. So, I mean, that's an expensive education, and I don't want to discount that, because I'm sure you're learning wonderful things. But before you get out of there, those teachers are still on your dime. Make sure they tell you how to get a job, and they give you contacts so that you can make a living when you get out of school, because that is where I find so many art schools are failing their students. And it's not, you're paying for that education. It should be the whole education. How do I get a job? How do I, how to support myself after I have
Yes,
this wonderful
right.
associate's degree or bachelor's degree.
And that applies to more than just art, too.
Absolutely.
You can always learn from people who are less educated than you as far as book-wise.
Yeah.
Always.
So that's my advice. And as far as book illustration, that's kind of a hard one. You could send some samples to a publishing house. A lot of publishers now are a lot of book writers are self-publishing, and there are publishers that just work with writers that just want to have their books published that can't get picked up, which is a lot of book writers now. And so if they have your samples on hand, they could say, you're looking for an illustrator, here's this person, this is every state has publishing houses that work with writers trying to self-publish. So I would ask for at least $50 in illustration. That would be great for a beginner. $50 in illustration would be a great way to start. But and you will learn so much from that process. I'll tell you that. That'll probably be more. There should be a class right there. It's probably more than you get from a credit hour of college right there.
Really? Yeah. Gammy Girl says, "Hi Lindsay, love your tutorials and Ask a Crafter series. Thanks again for taking the time to share your knowledge. My question is about replacement for embossing paste. I see a lot of stampers using embossing paste, but I don't have any. But I have gesso, acrylic ground for pastels, and several other acrylic gel mediums. Can any of these give a similar effect to embossing paste? Thanks in advance and happy holidays."
Any of the heavy-bodied ones can, but I would save your money because embossing, all those grounds and mediums are expensive. Instead, actually, if I can have you step over, I'm going to grab one and show her what I use. And it is simply, there's just a glitter just woofed out as soon as I move that. I use, look at this, it's pretty fancy. I don't know if your budget can handle it. 99 cents. Premium now. Window and door caulking. Works great. It's paintable white latex caulking. You can mix any of your acrylic paint in it. You could use reinkers, but acrylic paint works really nice because it doesn't water it down. And tint it however you want. And yeah, scrape it right across your stencils. Works better than anything. It's 99 cents.
Can't beat that.
You can't beat that.
Elaine Darlington Brown says, "Another question. If you have the space, would you be able to tell me whether you can create your own absorbent ground medium, please?"
Yeah, go to the hardware store again while you're buying your stencil paste and pick yourself up a quart of actually a flat ceiling paint. That's great absorbent ground. It's latex based. Your oils and acrylics will go on top of it just fine, and it will save you a ton because you can get you can get a gallon for like $11 of the just flat white ceiling paint.
Jeez.
It's very absorbent.
Okay, Beverly Fuller says, "Lindsay, could you tell me how to protect your original designs? Can you tell me where to get information on protecting original designs? Love your videos. Thanks, Beverly."
Yeah, you can do a Google search from well, I'm assuming you're in the United States, of the U.S. Copyright Office, and that'll have all copyright law. If you've created something, you just automatically have protection. Like for instance, I know a lot of people put little watermarks over their stuff on their blogs. I don't bother with it. If I posted something on my blog, there's a timestamp right there. It tells you when I created it. So there's a little proof right there that I have created that. You don't have to be a blogger. You don't have to keep a, digital footprint of when you've created stuff. Just date it. If you want, you could take a picture of it, and then all that information would be in the metadata of your picture. And you ought to take a picture of your work anyway to keep a good record. So if there was ever an issue where you saw somebody rip off your design, maybe you had a hanging in a gallery and then somebody ripped it off and they posted it, you could say, whoa, wait a minute, this is mine, I took a picture of it, here is the date, it's clearly derivative of what I've done. But you also have to see what is and what isn't copyright protectable. So if you see a photograph of Johnny Depp and you do his portrait from that, you won't really have the copyright on that painting you did because it's a derivative work of somebody else's photograph. Fashion is not copyrightable. So if you design a dress and Macy's knocks it off, you really don't have copyright protection on that because fashion is not copyrightable. That's why you see Chanel bags with their logos plastered all over it, because your logos can be trademarked. And then if you see a non-Chanel bag that's got the Chanel logo all over it, they actually can get them for trademark infringement. But but fashion is considered utilitarian, so it can't be, it does not fall under copyright protection. So you have to make sure what you're creating is can be copyright protected. It's not a derivative work of something somebody else has done. And then I would just get a picture of it, and that digital information, if you take it with a digital camera, that will prove when you took it and that it's your own work. So yeah, go to the US copyright website, and that'll give you all the information about what is and what is not copyrightable.
Okay. Jean M. I'm not sure if you've already covered this, but does the ink from the HP, I also have a PhotoSmart, work well for coloring digital images with Copics? Love your videos and wish I had just a portion of your energy.
Let me introduce you to coffee. Yeah, I have a HP PhotoSmart. I always color in my digital stamps with Copics or, you know, Prismacolors or Bic markers or whatever, and no bleeding. It's great.
Oh, okay. C. Will. Hi, Lindsay and Lorraine or Kelly. I want to thank you for your efforts to date and to say please keep the children stomping, dog barking, weather updates info regarding your retakes because they do brighten my day and remind us all that you are human and in the real world. Do you know of a lettering set or a set of upper and lowercase characters that I can line up in some way that satisfies my attention to detail and allows me to make my own salutations? Coming from calligraphy and on an exceptionally low budget, I would be happy to invest in such an item as the cost of the words that I want in my chosen fonts and sizes is somewhat prohibitive. Is that right? Calligraphy? Coming from calligraphy?
Yeah, coming from my calligraphy background. I
Oh,
would
okay.
assume that's what it means.
Oh, okay. I remember that my children, who are now fully grown, could have had such printing sets that didn't leave large spaces between the letters, but I can't find anything so far to suit. Any ideas? You can tell I'm not very happy with large packs of items that only contain 2 or 3 things that I would want to use. And then she has another question. Do you want to answer that?
Yeah,
one
let me
first?
answer this one first. Prima Marketing just came out with a product that is stamps, and they lock together almost like puzzle pieces. They snap together like Legos, kind of like Legos, and they've got the stamp on the bottom. So you spell what you want, you snap it all together. When you have it just right, then you just ink it up and stamp it. That's by Prima. Not super low budget. I think they're probably about 12 to 20 a piece. I think I've seen them some places for $12.99, and I might have seen them as high as $18.99 for a font.
letter?
No, a font.
Oh.
You get a whole font with, I would imagine, multiples of like your popular letters, so you can, you just snap them together like Legos, and then you stamp and go.
Good.
Yeah.
They would be perfectly spaced.
Yeah, and I got those, Martha Stewart makes them, and Staples makes them, and they're like, you have to slide these little letters in these little grooves, and it's such a pain in the butt, and sometimes they don't stamp right, and those are at the office supply store, and I would avoid those. But those Prima ones look good. I haven't tried them. Another idea are these dollar sets. You can get them at they're by Studio G. They have them at AC Moore, Joann's, Walmart even, and they come in probably 20 or 30 different fonts, and they're just tiny little stamps, and there's not, I'll show you here. Well, here, I haven't mounted though. I haven't like pulled those apart yet. So there's not very much space between the letters. And what I do sometimes is I will just line them up how I want them, and I will use a little piece of painter's tape or masking tape and tape them together and stamp them that way. And these are $1, you know, per font, you know, per whatever set you want. I really enjoy using these. I don't stamp any really big like phrases or anything. I would just type it out on the computer, but I think both of those are pretty affordable. There's clear stamps, but sometimes I find it hard to smush them close enough together on a block.
I think that's what she's thinking, yeah.
Yep.
And her second question is, I've seen Mod Podge recommended on other sites as adhesive and possibly varnish, but have not yet fully understood its potential. It has mainly been recommended for sketchbook, scrapbook covers. Is this something you use, and are there conventional art supplies that perform the same purpose? Many thanks for your time and expertise given so generously, even though a true Brit, I think you truly deserve the title awesome. From Christine in the UK.
Do British people not use the word awesome?
I think it means that it's very rarely given out.
Ooh, thank you. Awesome for a British person. That's totally awesome.
I think so.
You know, I've had so many people tell me, this is beside the point, but so many people have emailed me from the UK saying, have you seen the new Doctor Who? And I have not seen, so please don't tell me anything about the new Doctor Who. I just gotta put it out there. Please don't tell me anything that happened to the 50th anniversary. I even went to the BBC iPlayer and I couldn't watch it. I'm like, you have to be in Britain to watch it, so.
The one on last Saturday, my daughter watched it.
How'd you watch it?
I don't know. They got together and found someplace, the two of them. I don't watch it. Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is, and I won't watch. I have a strong feeling, being an artist, that I don't want to rip off other artists, and so if I have to wait, 5 years for the new Sherlock, or 2 years for the new Doctor Who, I just don't want to. I don't want to watch it like on somebody's YouTube channel, or because then the creators,
everybody
loses.
Really?
Nobody's getting, and they work hard for that, and they come up with these innovative shows, and I don't want to take away from that.
I think it was on Netflix.
The new one's not on Netflix yet, is it? I'll have to check. I don't think it is.
They watched something, because one of my daughters would be very good about that. The other one, but the one that watches that, yeah, she's very tuned into that type of thing.
Yeah.
I'll have to find out.
Yes, please do, because they don't have season 7. I had to subscribe to Hulu, pay for Hulu so I could watch season 7 of Doctor Who.
Oh, no.
All right, what was the question again?
The question was about Mod Podge.
Oh, yes. Mod Podge, that's one you want to pay the money for. I love Mod Podge. In fact, I just bought a gallon of it because I got a good deal on Dick Blick. I got them for like $18 for a big gallon so I can fill my my container, but I use it as an adhesive. I use it to decoupage with, like you can use it on the back side of the paper and the front side. I use it to coat my paper beads. I've got drawers and drawers of paper beads. Once I get this is my current bottle of beads that's going. These are not varnished, but then when I get a bunch full, then I stick them on my fancy drying tool, which is toothpicks dipped in wax, stuck in a foam circle, and then I stick them on there and I paint them up. It's just such a great protective sealant. You can even drizzle it in. You can use it like, I think it's about the same as crystal accents and diamond glaze, because you can put like they have these podgeable blanks, and they're meant for filling in with Mod Podge, like putting paper in and filling in with Mod Podge, and it just dries really glassy and hard and clear. I would just, there's so much you can do with it. Use it for any glue, varnish. I wouldn't varnish oil painting with it because it's acrylic based, so it would probably crackle. But you could varnish your acrylic paintings. You could varnish a picture frame if you stain it with an acrylic medium. There's so much you can do with it. It's a fabulous product.
Oh,
and if you keep the lid, the threads clean on the jar, and like I put a piece of wax paper down and then I screw the cap on, as long as you can get back into it. And you don't let it freeze. Never let any acrylic glue or anything like that freeze. It'll last you years and years and years.
Very good. Carolyn Marinette. Another question for me. I have tons of paintbrushes, but not watercolor brushes. I don't think so anyways. How can I tell? If I don't have any watercolor brushes, what could I use instead? I looked at Michael's and they're quite expensive. Thanks for your wealth of knowledge.
Okay. Well, we did get an answer to that.
Yeah, really involved one. I never knew about that squirrel stuff.
Yeah, I got lots of squirrels. No plucking the squirrels, Lorraine. So somebody did you have the name of the lady that responded? Or?
No, I didn't keep that.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, last week, if you go and look at the comments,
really
the lady did have a really great response for that. But I would feel the brush first. If it's soft, it's going to work good for watercolor. You don't want anything too rough, like a hog bristle. Like, stencil brushes are really stiff and hard. They're made from pig bristle, and it's a byproduct of the meat industry. And they're just a really stiff brush, and they will tear up your paper. You could use it to scrub out a mistake and blot it off, but it's not something you'd want for application of paint. Softer watercolor brushes that are natural hair generally are byproducts of the fur trade, so I don't buy those. Like your Kolinsky sable brushes are going to be from the mink trade. So if you don't want to support that industry, then don't buy those brushes. There are so many really good synthetic brushes out there now, and they use different materials such as nylon, and they vary the size of the bristles so you can both hold a lot of water, which is what you want, hold a lot of water and paint, but also get the fine precision that you want at the end of the brush. So I really like the synthetic nylon brushes. I really like the Aqualon and the Majestic line by Royal Langnickel. They're not expensive. A pack of 6 is about $20, and they go on sale at like AC Moore and Michael's. And you can use a coupon on it if you don't want to, if you want to pick them up as you go. I ordered those when they first came out from the Royal Company, and you had to order them from magazines, and they're still going strong. I haven't had to rebuy any of them. If you're on a budget, I would get a number 8. Probably if you're a beginner, I'd get a number 8 round with a nice pointy tip, Aqualon or Majestic, and I would get a 1-inch wash, and I would get a 1/2-inch angle, and those brushes you could do 90% of everything you need to do with those 3 brushes.
Great. That's good to know.
Yep.
Okay, Dinosaur, you two always make me happy. You're so funny. And you're both drinking water. That's a hoot.
Not today!
No, No, we need coffee. I have no idea. But it is. My question is about Lindsay's necklace. I love it. Can we see it up close? And did you make it? If so, tell us the general process. It looks like it might have had some paper beads mixed with glass or acrylic. TFS, love your videos.
All right, well, this is the necklace. I had to look back last week to see what I was wearing. It was this one. And let's see, probably I'm just trying to get it in front of the camera. Oh yeah, okay, there we go. I think it shows up against my black sweater. I'm on my tippy toes here. So the pendant in the middle is just what I got at the bead shop for $2.50. It's just a brass. I think it's brass. It looks brass. And then I took two pieces. I took one piece of tiger tail, folded it in half, and went through the loop on the top. And then I have a mixture of glass E beads and glass C beads. The big beads are acrylic, and they are the Urban Ice beads from Dress It Up Jessie James, that company that makes buttons. They're $5 a big bag at Joann's, regular price. And then I have some glass beads mixed in too, which are just random from my bead stash. And then I got a toggle at the end, and I did the same thing on this side, except I used the other side of the toggle, obviously, and a mixture of glass and acrylics. So I was able to get the big sparkly beads without the weight. And I really like the Urban Ice beads by Dress It Up Jessie James. And Joann sells them. I don't know if any other companies sell them, but Joann's has them in store. Maybe they have them online. They didn't last year because I had to go back and buy those Urban Ice beads in every color because I just loved the big sparkle that they had. So
that's nice. Okay, Hazel K. King V. Paul says, "Hi Lindsay and Lorraine. Thanks for another entertaining and informative video. I am learning so much from this Ask a Crafter series. One of the questions I have is, I was recently given a set of Boldmere acrylic paints, but I'm not an artist. I wish I was and watch all your wonderful painting tutorials. But I'm mostly a card maker, and I wondered what I could use these paints for and how I would use them. Do they mix with water? Can I use them to make backgrounds? Thanks in advance, from Hazel."
Absolutely. Okay, first, if you decide you want to paint and you want to use those acrylics, you can try any of my painting tutorials, but just water them down. There's some things you can't do with the acrylics. You couldn't like lift out a white spot after it dries, but you got white paint there, so you can paint on a white spot if you need to, because you can keep layering over with acrylics. You can paint backgrounds. You can change the colors of embellishments. If you have a metal embellishment that just isn't working for you, paint it with acrylic paints. If you want to shabby it up, sand off some of the raised edges. You can wet down some ribbon or fabric, and you could water down the acrylics and use it to dye your fabric or ribbon. You could put some in a water bottle, in a little like spray bottle with water, shake it up and make a little spray mist. You have to make sure you keep the nozzles clean, because acrylic it's almost like, think about it as color and glue. It's got an acrylic, is almost very gluey. But yeah, absolutely. Use it for, you can even use it on your stamps. You can dab it on, like foam stamps are great. Oh, yeah. Dab it on foam stamps, stamp with them. You can use it on rubber stamps too. Just clean the stamps immediately when you're done. Acrylic paint is a great thing to paint wood. You could, splash on a few swipes on the back of a card, just to throw in a quick background. Use it with stencils and a sponge. Use like a little makeup sponge and, dab it on through a stencil. Yeah, just to experiment and have fun with it. And I bet you'll be buying some more acrylic paints before those run out.
Yes. Okay, KS Cookie says, "Since ProvoCraft discontinued the Imagine, it can be a little difficult to find ink cartridges for it. Would you know a good source for both the color and black ink? Thanks."
Yes, I do. You can actually buy HP cartridges, and you can find generic equivalents on Amazon if you don't want to pay the $30 or $40 for an HP cartridge. They have generics for about $7. And I'm just going to read verbatim what was on the official Cricut website on this. It says, "This cartridge has been discontinued and is no longer available. The Cricut Imagine now works with standard HP ink cartridges." It probably always worked with standard HP cartridges, but they weren't going to tell you that. Good Lord. "Please update your machine via Cricut Sync to firmware version 123 and content version 35. The replacement ink cartridges are as follows: Tricolor, number 97, number 134, or number 344. And for black, use 98 or 129 or 377. Now I know the 97 and 98 come in a 2-pack on Amazon for about $10. But that's the off-brand, so you want to search like HP and those numbers equivalent or generic, and you'll find the 2-pack for $10. And I think it even had free shipping on it, so it's super cheap.
Love free shipping.
Yes.
Melly Ison says, "Okay, I have a question. I have a black memento ink pad and a black archival and a brown archival ink pad. They are fairly new and they seem to be dry already. Why? Is the refresher recipe the same for these ink type pads? Thanks so much. By the way, I'm still looking for glycerin. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. What was the brand on that ink again? Ranger Archival? Yeah, the ink refresher would be the same. It would be like a tablespoon of glycerin and a big bottle, like a 4-ounce bottle of water. Just shake it up, spray it, and let it sit overnight, and you should be good to go. Any pharmacy should have glycerin. Or any cake decorating, any place that sells cake decorating supplies, health food stores, vegetable glycerin. Just ask. Just ask a pharmacist, and they should be able to get it for you.
Oh yeah, they should be able to. Rebecca Cox. Hi, Lindsay. I left a question on your YouTube tutorial about painting a poppy, but then I realized I had more questions about watercolor. I'm only planning to use it on cards and maybe scrapbooks. I'm not looking to spend a lot of money. Who is? Paper, I found some that is 90.
Okay, I'll answer that one first. Okay. The watercolor cards I buy are 140. That's the weight of the card. 90 pound is fine if you're going to layer it on a cardstock card. So say if you already made some cards out of cardstock and you just want to like conserve your watercolor paper by doing smaller paintings, I like to tear around the edges and just mount it on the cardstock. So 90 pounds is fine for that. If you're going to make the base of the card out of the watercolor paper, I'd go with 140 so it's sturdy enough so it doesn't feel flimsy.
Okay, pencils. I priced these at Michael's, Joann's, and Hobby Lobby. I looked at reviews but didn't find much. I just can't justify spending money on the Derwent even with a coupon because I want to see if I'm any good at it at first. Do you know anything about these brands? Kimberly, Artist Loft, Lowe Cornell, and Sargent Art.
I know Kimberly I've used the pastel pencils and they were good. I don't know anything about the Artist Loft. Lowell Cornell is they do a pretty moderate student grade line of products, and Sargent Art I've had good luck with Sargent products with my students, so I would say I probably would maybe shy away from the Artist Loft because I've never heard of them, but Kimberly is good, Sargent's good, Lowell Cornell I haven't used their pencils, they're probably fine, but Kimberly and Sargent anyway would be good bets.
Okay, and then the brushes, you kind of just answered that about I've gone down the brush aisle. Uh-huh. It is overwhelming. Yeah. When I thought about maybe trying to do that, I thought that too.
And if you're going to do pencils, I would recommend that you get like a number 4 flat. That brush will do most of what you want to do. And maybe like a number 3 round, just so you can, because if you're using the pencils, you're probably doing smaller things. And right. You want a shorter, firmer brush that's going to push your pigment around a little bit better.
Okay. So that answers that question, right?
I think
round
so.
Or flat? Sharon Lone says, love all your videos. Thank you for your time and trouble. My question is, have you ever worked with metal clay? And do you have a frugal recipe for metal clay?
I've never worked with it. It's too rich for my blood. When I create, I need to feel free. And when I've got an ounce of something that costs $40 or $50, ooh, I can't feel free with that. So one thing that I would do if I want to replicate metal is I would use black polymer clay, and I would, form it, maybe stamp on it, cure it, bake it, and then I would brush over some silver or gold acrylic paint, or brush on some metallic Pearl-Ex before I baked it, to give the look of it. But yeah, it's too expensive for me to just experiment. I would need to take a class or something because it's just once you fire it, it's fired. I mean, I don't know if you can melt it down or what you can do with it, but it's too, I wouldn't enjoy it knowing that I would be potentially wasting that much money.
No. VA Pearl says, I'm a new watcher and have a question about paper cutters. I bought a Fisker paper cutter from Michael's and use it in my craft business at least 3 to 4 days a week. Is there a different brand you can recommend besides Fisker's or Martha Stewart? My paper cutter gets a workout and I'm thinking I might need to buy a more durable one for the business. I use my cutter more for small cuts, like less than a half-inch cuts, so I need something that is light enough I can see the markings. Thanks for any assistance you can give. I love watching all the videos.
Well, I have an X-Acto guillotine style that I use every day, and I've had that for over 10 years, and it's got a lot of use. But as far as like tiny exact cutting, I don't think that's the best bet. But there's a cutter by the company Purple Cows. Have you ever heard of them? Yeah. Well, it's got the guillotine on one side, but then it's got a roller on the other side. So if you're just chopping down a bunch of stock, you could use a guillotine, and you never have to replace those blades. You can sharpen them.
Yeah, those are nice.
But then if you're going to do the tiny little slivers you need to cut off, then you have the rotary cutter on the other side. There's clear markings, and you can replace the rotary blade, so if it gets dull. So I think I would go with that, and I think you might even be able to take the two pieces apart. I saw it on clearance at AC Moore, so if you have an AC Moore or go online, see if you could find, you might be able to find a clearance model, save a lot of money, because I think it was probably 50 or 60 bucks originally, so you probably want to save a little money. But if it's for a business and it's going to last, then it's probably cheaper to buy the better cutter. But if you can't find that, the X-Acto guillotine, and then maybe get a little rotary one that's on its own. Like I have the Cutter Peed one, and that's worked really well for me, but I've had several friends say they can't get a straight cut with their Cutter Peed.
Yeah, some of those are hard. Some people have a hard time getting straight cuts with cutters.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just not very particular. Close enough.
Close enough. I'll cover it with this.
Yep. We're a perfect place for an embellishment right there.
Right there. Okay, Lenny's and Kate, 44. Hi, Lindsay and Lorraine. I have a question or maybe a tutorial request regarding color brush paintbrushes. What shape paintbrushes are used for what techniques? I'm especially intrigued by the fan-shaped brush I always see for sale with the rest. Also, since I'm just starting out with watercolor painting and don't own any brushes yet, which brushes and brands would you recommend I start with? Thanks for your wonderful free advice. I feel like I won the lottery the day I discovered your YouTube channel. My husband actually fell off the couch laughing at that.
Why?
I think he'd be quite disappointed in winning us in the lottery.
Oh, come on. We're fabulous.
Yeah, right.
I just did a tutorial using the fan brush on a Christmas tree tag. It's I think it's called like Watercolor Christmas tree tag, something fabulously original like that.
Oh, I saw
and I
that.
use a fan brush with masking fluid to kind of do the snow on a Christmas tree. And basically, you want to match the shape of your brush with whatever you're trying to paint. In watercolor, you're generally using a large round brush, I think. At least the way I paint, I generally use a large round brush. But there's different, like if you're painting a portrait and you wanted to do hair, you could use a fan brush because it will give you, when you paint with it, it's going to give you a lot of lines of color. So you can use that for hair. There's also a brush called a rake, and it's a flat brush, but it's been trimmed so that you've got like tufts of bristles, so it looks like a rake.
Oh.
And that is good for doing hair. That's more for like acrylic and oil because or something where you'd be working on a smoother surface in watercolor paper, but you can certainly use that. Usually you can get like a kit. It's probably the best way to go if you're a beginner. Look in the toll painting or decorative painting aisle of your craft store, or go into a toll painting store, or go to like, there's a website called artistclub.com, and it's all decorative painting. And look for a multi-pack of special effects brushes, and that will give you like your deerfoot stippler and your foliage brush. And these are just brushes that the bristles are cut so that it's very easy to tap on trees and to like tap on these different textures. It's they're kind of like little cheats, but I don't think there's anything wrong with using them. You know, why not? Sometimes I've taken brushes and I've chopped them like cheap brushes just to get a certain effect. So yeah, generally I use the Aquilana Majestic by Royal Langnickel. I'm not affiliated with them. I just find them to be a very reliable brush. I know what I'm getting when I pull that brush out of my bucket. I know what it's going to do. It holds enough water for me to paint well, but it comes to a nice fine point. It doesn't get, like a lot of natural hair brushes will get soggy on you and you have to let them completely dry before you use them again with watercolor. And synthetic brushes don't get soggy. You know, you can paint from for like 10 hours straight and they're not going to go limp. But like the natural ones will kind of get, like, they'll get swollen up, waterlogged, and they'll need to rest and dry out before you can use them again. So yeah, you can't go wrong with Aquilon. You just can't. They're great brushes.
Oh, that's good. Ridge ATC. Hello, ladies. I love watching your tutorials and Ask a Crafter. I'm an avid card maker and have been dabbling in watercolor. I was wondering if you could explain all the different types must be of watercolor paints, crayons, pencils, and what they do best. Pros and cons. Well, we kind of pretty much covered a lot of that, didn't you?
Yeah, well, okay, you got your basic watercolor paints come in two ways. They're in a pan, which is probably what you were familiar with as a child, getting your little pan of Crayola colors, but they have artist pans, and I think they're less common. Maybe they're more common in other countries. They're less common here. You usually have to order them, like if you replace a pan, or in a tube, which is a liquid watercolor. And what I do is I squeeze it in my palette and I let it dry, so I'm really working from a pan of color. Then you've got watercolor pencils, which are great for coloring in stamped images or doing small sketches or more controlled illustrations. If you like to do pen and ink or architectural drawings, watercolor pencils are great for that. Watercolor crayons are a little more expressive. You lay down kind of thick, wide stripes of color, then you wet them with a brush. Gelatos and water-soluble oil pastels are very creamy and kind of waxy feeling, and again, you can color with them and then brush them out with some water. It's basically, it comes down to being basically about the same thing. It's just whatever you prefer. Yeah. And a lot of times you can go into the I know at Hobby Lobby, went there the other day, and they have some open stock watercolor pencils for like $1 or $2 a piece. And then they have like, you can buy one of this, one of that, try them out.
Oh, to try them out.
Yeah. And then if you really love one, then buy a set. That way you're not out, that way you don't end up with 72 of something that you really don't care for. Yeah. But if you tried it once, that's not for me.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. Cam Smith 101 says, what are the best bristles to have in your paintbrush for watercolors?
Well, that's up to you. I prefer nylon because I don't want to support the fur trade. But a lot of people would say Kolinsky sable, which is a mink, because they're quite resilient and they hold a lot of water. They're also very expensive. I mean, I don't want to spend $100 on a brush. Some of those Series 7 brushes, yeah, you can spend $150 on a brush. So it's personal preference. I like the golden Taklon brushes personally. They're inexpensive and they do the job.
Okay. Pat Childress says, is there such a thing as using clear floor wax on paper?
I use a future floor wax sometimes, like to coat rice paper beads or, just as a sealer. So yeah, you can use that.
Craft on Cue. Hi, Lindsay and Lorraine. I love your Ask a Crafter videos, and I want to thank you for taking the time to do these for all of us. My question is about Copic markers. I've been thinking of purchasing some to color my stamped images. What colors would you recommend to begin with? My thought is to buy 5 or 6 per month until I have a good assortment. Thanks so much, Linda Hardesty.
Okay. I recommend going with the lighter colors first because you can always fill in with Sharpies and Bic markets. My favorite Copic colors are 00 Skin White. That's the number and the color. Robin's Egg Blue is another favorite, which is just a beautiful light aqua. Sugared Almond is my favorite pink, and it's a super light pink. Let's see. Moonstone is a very, very light chartreuse color. It's really pretty. Buttercup is a very light, soft yellow. So I get those soft pastel, light colors, and a colorless blender. And then I would get a package of 36 Bic markets, and that will get you going because the package of 36 Bics is under $20.
Yeah.
So you got 36 colors there. You've got a half a dozen really light Copic colors you can blend with. That's gonna do you really well, and then you can start adding colors as you feel what as you realize what you really need.
That sounds good. Okay. Sylvie Murphy, thank you for your answer about the ink pad, but I was wondering what is the kind of pad to use?
I think she was wondering, that was last week, I think she was wondering whether to use a felt pad or to use a foam pad.
Oh, yeah, that's
I think I would use a foam pad, just like a I think they're called makeup rounds, just foam.
Yeah. Okay. And Kathleen W. Lindsay, what kind of ink should I use to stamp on a onesie?
I think I would use fabric paint, and I would dab it on my stamp with a sponge, and after it's all dry, I would iron over it to heat set it. But if you don't have that, you can use pigment ink. There used to be an ink called Fabrico, but they don't make it anymore. But I think the Versacolor is their replacement. So you could try Versacolor, you could try acrylic paint, fabric paint.
Okay. Becky says, happy cold morning. What is your solution to making the pop-up strings for cards? I unsuccessfully tried making a bead wire, but it didn't have the spring and the memory I wanted. I know you have frugally done this at some time or other, my hero. Also, can you show how to make ink pad storage using foam core board? Thank you so much.
Okay, for the pop-up wobbly springs, I have a video on that. I'll try to remember to put a link below the video or somewhere up here where you can click on it. But just search, wobble cards or spring cards or something, and you'll find it. It's easier to probably just search it on my blog. Link is below the video to my blog. But I use 24 gauge copper wire, I just wound it in a tight coil, like around a knitting needle, and I hot glued it to the card and hot glued it to the back of whatever I wanted to spring, and it works great. And I used probably a number 10 knitting needle or so. You have to just kind of, you can do it as big as your item is, so that it's hidden. So you don't want a really big one to stick out over the edges, but you don't want a teeny tiny one,
Right.
either. And then what was the other part of the question? Ink pad storage for foam core. The pattern that I got that I made my ink pad storages is from the website The Rebel Inker, and if you just search foam core ink pad storage on her website, it'll bring you to that, because I used her pattern. Actually, my husband used her pattern and made it for me. I'll try to get a link in the about section under this video for that too. But yeah, I'm not going to post her pattern. She'll have to go to her website because, hey, she did that. She deserves credit for that.
She does, yeah.
All right.
I think that's it.
Oh my goodness!
Wow,
cool. Well, thank you very much.
That was good.
I hope you all have a very happy Thanksgiving if you're here in the States celebrating Thanksgiving this week. And don't get trampled if you're out there Black Friday shopping. Do you do that?
No, I do not.
I don't either.
I stay home and work on my crafts. That's my way of contributing.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
We also always, growing up, we would address our Christmas cards after Thanksgiving dinner. We'd always do that.
Yeah, I like getting those first ones. Maybe I'll start making mine.
I haven't made any yet.
I know, I haven't either. I haven't come up with a design yet.
Oh, you got to do some more little alpaca cards from last week. Those were cute.
Yeah.
Yes, very cute. All right, well, there we have it. You have all sorts of new ideas hopefully now, so you can get crafting and have a great holiday. Have a wonderful week. And if you have a question, leave a comment. Thumbs up and subscribe so that you don't miss another fabulous crafting lottery winning video of the fabulous crafting duo.
Yes, really.
Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.
Happy crafting.
Bye.